Hello, Rama Pupoda. Hope all are in good health, feeling great, wonderful, having a happy and peaceful life. Now let's continue with the devotee Viswanathaswami. The next moment, he prostrated before him in absolute awe and devotion. Then Bhagavan sent word to Viswanathan. As advised, he came and prostrated before his father and stood next to him with folded hands and bent head. Ramaswamy was very angry. He turned to Vishwanathan and said, "All this is enough. Now pack up and come with me. That is why we have come to take you back to Tindakal." A stony silence pervaded the mandap. Bhagavan looked at Ramaswamy and said, "Vishwanathan has taken to the path of surrender and self purification." Ramaswamy was not fully satisfied. Bhagavan reasoned with him. "Allow Vishwanathan to stay here. It will do him good." This word worked like magic, and the father melted. He looked at Bhagavan, and his paternal instincts influenced him to plead with Bhagavan. If Bhagavan takes the responsibility of Vishwanathan's spiritual fulfillment, I will have no objection in leaving him here. There was complete silence again. Vishwanathan never expected this, and everyone looked at Bhagavan. Bhagavan compassionately turned and made this declaration in public. "Yes, I will take the entire responsibility of Vishwanathan's spiritual growth." In Chinnaswami's case, Bhagavan committed in private to his mother that he would take the responsibility for Chinnaswami. But with Viswanatha Swami, he declared this in public. However, these are not two isolated instances. When we sincerely dedicate ourselves to practice, it is Bhagavan's assurance, even now, that he will take the entire responsibility of each one's spiritual fulfillment. Remember Bhagavan's holy words. The effort of the seeker and the grace of the Guru are synonymous and simultaneous. Our part is only to make the effort. Vishwanatha Swami was extremely happy. His arduous practice had begun. Bhagavan took him along during his walks and explained to him the verses that he had composed on jnana, wisdom, and bhakti, devotion. Bhagavan took complete care of him. Vishwanatha Swami later told me that being alone with Bhagavan and having his words explained exclusively to him were the greatest boons that he received from Bhagavan. One day, when Bhagavan and Vishwanatha Swami were cutting vegetables, Bhagavan told him, "You should be capable of making use of even dust. At the same time, you should also be able to reject the entire cosmos as nothing but mere dust." The relationship between the Guru and disciple was growing, and Bhagavan perhaps felt that Vishwanathan needed a firm rooting in scriptural studies. Kavyakanta Ganapati Muni was then staying up on the hill. So, in 1927, Bhagavan sent Vishwanathan to Kavyakanta to study the scriptures. Even when Kavyakanta came down in 1929 to stay in Palakuttu, Bhagavan specifically told Vishwanathan, "Nayana is staying in a hut in Palakuttu. Go stay with him, serve him, and learn from him." Every day Bhagavan visited that hut. He would always enquire, "Nayana, how is Vishwanathan?" The Guru showed him the teacher, and this encouraged Vishwanathan. His study of Sanskrit scriptures helped him create verses extempore. Once he wrote 5 verses and placed them at Bhagavan's feet. Bhagavan read them and he said approvingly, "They are very good. Why don't you continue to write? But first, show them to Nayana and get them verified." Both Vishwanathan and Kavyakanta thus worked hand in hand and put together the 108 names of Sri Bhagavan called Sri Ramana Astotram. The beauty of this prayer is that its perfume will never fade away, as it is the aroma emanating from the heart. It came from the hearts of Vishwanathan and Nayana and was approved by Bhagavan. The heart. It is a treatise, a secret flower about which Viswanathaswami later told me. I was fortunate enough to place this at the holy feet of Sri Bhagavan. Viswanathaswami continued his spiritual practice, and the years rolled on. One who lives the truth, lives in and as the eternal now. To such a one, time doesn't matter because time is an illusion. Vishwanathaswami was in timeless ecstasy. He got a rude shock when Bhagavan's health failed and he had to be operated on. This caused him deep pain. He went to Bhagavan and said, Bhagavan, permit me to serve you day and night and to be with you. Bhagavan turned to him and said, You have work to do. Saying this, he politely declined his request. On Bhagavan's last day, there were a few people, including myself, inside his room. Outside, Bhagavan's devotees were chanting Akshara Ramana Manamalai, the heart melting verses composed by Bhagavan on Arunachala the self. Bhagavan had already requested the attendants to help him sit up. The louder the chorus, Arunachala Shiva became, the more were the tears of ecstasy that rolled down from Bhagavan's eyes. Vishwanatha Swami was witnessing the exalted spiritual splendor and was unfolding. He suddenly felt the gracious look of Bhagavan falling on him. He saw lightning flash within himself, and the core of his heart opened. He felt Bhagavan pouring grace into his heart and was overwhelmed with ecstasy. The next moment he saw Bhagavan smile and give a nod of approval as if to say that what Vishwanatha Swami had experienced was the real state. Bhagavan had awakened spiritual realization in the son in accordance with his word to the son's father, Ramaswamy. This is how Vishwanatha Swami recounted that moment of ecstasy. Having received that grace, the climax of my own spiritual experiences in the proximity of Bhagavan took place during those last moments. As I stood in that small room, everything became shadowy, enveloped by an invisible, pure awareness, the one and only ever present reality. There was not the least feeling of separation from Bhagavan or the least vestige of sorrow on his physical death. Instead, there was a positive ecstasy and elation of spirit, which was nothing but the natural state of the self. After Bhagavan attained Maha Nirvana, Vishwanatha Swami received a call from Dindigul that his mother was ailing and bedridden. There was nobody to attend to her. Vishwanatha Swami went home and saw that there was nobody to even serve her food. He attended to her day and night. He cooked for her, bathed her, and nursed her for months. During this time, he remembered what Bhagavan had said. You have work to do. His mother always kept a small and special notebook with her. Before she passed away, his mother opened her notebook in which Bhagavan himself had written Sri Ramana Astotram in his small, beautiful handwriting. She had been chanting the names every day. In her last moments, she said, Vishwanatha, I bless you, and gave him that notebook. Sometime after this, when he was still at Dindigul, he had a dream in which Bhagavan appeared to him and asked him to come to Ramana Ashramam. When he went there, he found that Chinnaswamy was ailing. For the next 6 months, he attended on him day and night. When Chinnaswamy died in 1953, Vishwanatha Swami disappeared from Ramana Ashramam. Knowing Vishwanatha Swami's greatness, I kept searching for him after I came to Ramana Ashramam in 1960. However, he kept eluding me. I could not find his whereabouts. One day, I was walking on the streets of Chennai when an old friend of mine met me and told me in great joy, Ganesa Anna, I am so happy because I am just returning from a meeting with Viswanathaswami. My joy knew no bounds. Viswanathaswami is here? I asked incredulously. My friend provided me the address and I immediately went there. He was living in his brother's rented house. When I walked in, he was in the kitchen cooking for the family. I prostrated before him right there in the kitchen. I cried, Swami, is cooking your job? Is not your place in the abode of Bhagavan? Is not Ramana Ashramam your home? He replied, Ganesan, what is wrong in being a cook? We need only a little food for the stomach. That I get here by working here. The inner food Bhagavan has already given. I begged him to come back to the ashramam and he did. Serving Viswanatha Swami was one of the most fulfilling functions in my life. Viswanatha Swami's presence actually enhanced the aroma of the ashramam. Slowly, other devotees came back. In those days, before the large hall was built, Bhagavan's Samadhi was merely a thatched shed with an open space in front. I used to sleep there on a mat on the floor. Some nights I would feel the poke of a walking stick. I would wake up to find Vishwanatha Swami standing next to me and silently beckoning me to follow him. He would have me walk in silence to the cemetery near Yamalingam, 2 kilometers away from the ashramam on the Pradakshina road. We both would sit on a raised platform behind which all the dead bodies are buried or cremated. He would draw my attention to the hill, and we would sit in silence for 2 or 3 hours and then walk back. This happened a few times. It was later that I understood this saint's insight. It is next to Yamalingam that my house, Ananda Ramana, is now situated. These walks to Yamalingam took place in the 1970s. In 1986, this house was given to me and I moved to stay permanently there in 1995. Just as Bhagavan cared for Vishwanatha Swami, Vishwanatha Swami, whom I cared for, took care of me and my spiritual practice. It is thus the beautiful chain of grace continues to link us to the truth that is ever present as Bhagavan. Let's continue in the next chapter. Thank you. Bye bye. Rama Rama Pupote.